Hi there, Crystal Thompson here for Simon Says Stamp, playing around with the Mama Elephants exclusive for the Stamptember 2020. This is a no line coloring. I'm loving a pink and teal color combination with this beautiful winter fox stamp set. I hope you've been enjoying all the tutorials we've had so far. Stamptember is a awesome event where you get new stamps every day and they're exclusive, so then when they sell out, they sell out. For this one, like I mentioned earlier, we're using the Mama Elephant Winter Fox doing a no line coloring, and I'm using Copics for my no line coloring. I have 3 pieces of cardstock. These are Neenah 110 pound, and then I have the main one, which is 4 1/4, 5 1/2, and then the other ones are smaller. I have 4 colors of Distress Oxides. We are going to begin stamping the background of our card using the Distress Oxides. We are going to grab the awesome little trees, and we got some pines, and I don't know what you would call it, an aspen perhaps, the one with the round blob. Anyways, we are going to stamp these down using Distress Oxides. Then we're going to heat set them, and we're going to use the same ink to do a little bit of super easy watercolor with the same colors. It's going to give it a little bit of contrast. It's going to give it some more dimension, and you're having to use the same products, and so not having to do a ton of coloring aside from the little winter foxes. So I'm going to stamp around again using the 2 colors and going around changing those out, and I am cleaning them in between as I change colors. I'm going to speed up the process of this so you can see. So I'm going to switch these guys out to another set where using the crackled pistachio and the fired brick. And then we're going to use the tiny little trees from the same set. And I thought it'd be really fun to create a background, specifically an edged background with the trees. So be careful that you don't get any smearing with it, because it is Distress Oxide. It does tend to take a little bit longer to dry. So what we're going to do to get that going and get these guys dried and get these set, we're going to bring in our heat gun. And this is our heat embossing heat gun. And I'm just going to heat set this. What it's going to do, it's going to dry it up. And if you ever wanted to watercolor with some Distress Oxides and then not have the back of your image kind of lose or get distorted once you add water, you heat set it. I have the little plastic from the stamp set, like the backer part, and I am stamping down some of that pink color from the Distress Oxides. All the products I'm using are linked below down in the video, so if you're hearing me go like the pink, the brown, the blue, that, yeah, we'll have them down there. Anyways, so as you can see, I have heat set it. You still kind of lose a little bit of the crisp of the image, but it makes it look really fun. So I'm going to continue doing this to all the different trees and elements of the background, and again using the same ink to one stamp and then to watercolor on it. We're going to shift over to the cracked pistachio and repeat the process. Alright, so we are going to do some of the watercoloring as I showed you earlier. This one we're using Distress Oxide. I am speeding up the process of the video so you guys can see how easy it was to create this. Next, I'm using Distress Oxide and pine needles, and honestly, you don't have to stay within the shape of the stamp. You can just go ahead and kind of add that blob of color, and it creates a really cool pattern background, and I'm really loving this. We're gonna let this sit for just a couple minutes. I decided kind of last minute that I was gonna add some splattering of that watercolor, and I am cleaning the acrylic from the stamp set every time I move on to a different color. So while we're letting that dry, I'm gonna bring in that forward piece. So we're gonna layer our coloring over this. So I have some washi tape, and I'm going to use the fired brick Distress Oxide along with some pink. I'm going to bring in my blender. So we're going to blend that Distress Oxide on the top, and then we're going to move on to the bottom with the pink. And you can utilize any colors that you've selected for your color combinations for your card. I just thought it'd be really cool to have kind of a peppermint looking stripes on the back. And as you can see, I didn't do the centers because we're going to place our next piece of cardstock. So this cardstock is slightly smaller than the one that we just colored. I just zoomed in on my card so you can see the coloring. We are stamping with the Burley Beige from Simon Says Stamp. And this stamp set is a dye ink, which means that it allows you to Copic color. And the image is going to stay there, yet it looks like you are doing a no line coloring with your Copics. I am stamping down. I know it's a bit hard to see, but it is going to be super fun to color. I'm going to bring in different colors of Copics, starting with RV10, doing the elements of the cheeks and the inner part of the ears. Move on to E2. We're going to do the shadows, and this is going to be the upper part of the head of the little cats or the little foxes, and then filling in with E00 and just blending the little foxes. And then again, for the process of the video, I'm speeding up the coloring so you can see it. I think it did take me about 10 minutes to fully color the images. And I selected some darker colors for this, as opposed to doing just the white bottom part of the face of the fox. I thought it'd be kind of fun to give him, you know, he's our winter fox as opposed to our every other day fox. Bringing in E53 raw silk to finish coloring the bottom part of his face. And if you feel that you selected the wrong color, you can always bring in a colorless blender and clean it off, or come in with some more color and blending that darker color. I decided I wasn't going to go in with that darker on the second fox. As you can see, the left one is a bit darker than the right one. And we're just going to continue blending. Once we have colored our entire image, I'm going to bring a light teal color, and I'm going to do a shadow all over the foxes. Why are we doing this? We're going to bring in some ink blending. And so by coming in with a marker and then ink blending around it, it really allows you to ink blend without having to do any masking. And if you find a Copic or alcohol marker that matches the ink that you're going to use, again, it makes it super easy and it gives you that gradient and color variation, and it looks like an ombre. So I'm going to bring in that Distress Oxide and Tickle Pink, and then bring in my Copic and adding a couple dots. Next, I'm going to add some heat embossing, and I'm stamping the sentiment from the same stamp set, Winter Fox, using some Simon Says Stamp watermark embossing ink, covering it with some fine white embossing detail. Now we're going to put our card together, and we're going to bring the process back to normal speed. So as you can see, my stamped watercolor etched background is ready to go. We're going to grab that candy cane inspired stripes, and we're going to place it right on the center using some flat adhesive. In this case, it is the Tombow Mono Clear Adhesive. Then we're going to bring in that image that we just colored. We spent some time on this. Then going to grab the 3D foam adhesive, and these are from Scrapbook Adhesives. You can use whatever you prefer. Just that it would be super easy to grab the pre-cut squares and remove the backing, and we're going to place it right on the center, making sure that just the edge of our ink blending shows up. So again, a very easy way to create a card with minimal supplies, just a bit of coloring and some watercolor, yet we're using all the colors, the same colors in every layer of the card, and it gives you that color coordination. For some embellishment, I decided I was going to do some splattering. I think splattering is the way to go this year. That's the new fad for card making. Going to use Altenew Pure White spray. I'm going to remove the back end of it and just kind of flicker all over the card. And if you find that you're getting way too much over your little critters, you can bring in a piece of cardstock or use your hand. And I decided to use my hand because I didn't want to press down on any of the white ink that had been sprayed already and then have it splatter. And it washes off and it's non-toxic, so no worries if you end up getting it on your skin. And guys, that does it for me. Thank you so much for joining me today on the collaboration with Mama Elephant and Simon Says Stamp. We are using Winter Fox. This is an exclusive stamp set, so go grab it before it sells out because it's not going to be available again. Let me know your thoughts, and all products are listed below. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day.